At the forefront of this for our show today is the issue of free speech. We've been on this a long time. It's a critical issue to deal with. Over the weekend, on Saturday, an organization, soundvision.com, a Muslim communications organization, had put together a conference entitled Stand with the Prophet Against Terror and Hate. These folks have a tendency to speak with forked tongue. And what is the duplicitous nature of that message? Again, we know the title for their Muslim Brotherhood event, Stand with the Prophet Against Terror and Hate. We know the truth. We know what's going on. And somebody who's always on the front lines, yelling, screaming, speaking, arguing, and making sense out of this very complex stuff. Somebody who's a dear friend of ours, who we've done a lot of stuff with, not the least of which was a battle down in Lower Manhattan on Park Street, fighting against the nonsensical mosque being built next to 9/11, that sort of idiocy. I tell you what.
And how about, what was that very important case in Ohio that you guys worked together on?
Yeah. I tell you what, whoever does the marketing for the Muslim community in America, to have this asinine conference right after France, and go ahead with it, not the brightest thing in the world. Is it, Pamela Geller? Welcome to our show, Pamela. How you doing?
Yeah. Woohoo!
Hi, guys.
How you
doing?
Tom, I want to thank you for sending your team into Texas. It's no small thing. It's incredibly important. What you're doing, what I do at Atlas, what Robert does at Jihad Watch, this handful, the voices of freedom, are so critical in this disinformation age. If not for you, if not for the websites that do what we do, and of course, as you know, we're under attack. I've been under a DDoS attack since Thursday. They've destroyed my site.
Really?
And
Really?
I was getting 100,000 hits a day. No, but there's a reason they're doing that. And that is because they're disarming the American people. When the media, in the coverage of the, quote, Stand with the Prophet conference, which sounds eerily similar to what the jihadists were screaming after they slaughtered the editorial staff at a French weekly. They went into the street with a Nazi salute and they screamed, "We have avenged the prophet." So the idea that there would be a conference in Texas, not standing for liberal values, and I mean liberal in the very definition of the word,
Classic.
Jeffersonian liberalism, as it were. It was standing for free speech. No, it was standing for the very ideology that incited the mass execution in cold blood of journalists.
Yeah.
And how did the media describe it? They described it as a peace conference. They described it as a peace conference. Tom, the headline was "Anti-Muslim Protest at Peace Conference." That's why what you're doing is so important, because your team was out in the street. Your team documented for your viewers and for Facebook and for Twitter and for Instagram what was actually going on, representing free speech. It was a purely American effort standing in defense of the First Amendment. That's what that protest was, standing against a conference who seeks to impose the same Islamic ideology that's behind the beheading of not just Daniel Pearl, but of James Foley and Steve Sokloff.
We're sensing a shift particularly in some of the conservatives in America that are simply fed up. I mean, France, seeing that slaughter in the streets and those guys running out, pointing to heaven, pointing to Allah, saying the prophet has been avenged. Very eerily similar to the name of this conference. People who weren't woken up are starting to wake up. What would be your advice right now to that soccer mom that goes, "Whoa, this Islam thing is a problem, and I got to do something about it here in America"? What is your advice to that person who's just kind of entering the fray?
Well, there are so few very good sources because it's been such a toxic subject for so long. And so many in the conservative sphere have been trimming their message so that they can get on television, that the problem that we see is all of a sudden everybody's an expert and they don't know what they're talking about. And that's why you see these apologies on Fox, which are ridiculous. There are zones in Europe. There are zones that if you go and you're not Muslim and you're not wearing the burqa, you will have a problem. It's a fact. There are zones in Europe where police can't go. There are zones in Europe. So this apology by Fox was ridiculous, but it's because they're all of a sudden an expert on a subject that they have avoided for a very long time. And by the way, they're the best of the worst. I mean, CNN and MSNBC. I mean, I was in the airport watching Fareed Zakaria. First of all, CNN has absolutely no journalistic ethics. None. The man has been caught plagiarizing. How many times? How many times? Not once, not twice, several times. How does someone like that not get fired?
Islam has nothing to do with terror. Islam and terror, nothing to do.
Islam has nothing to do with Islam.
Pamela, I thought of you the other night. I was in the movie theater. I was watching American Sniper, and the Chris Kyle character played by Bradley Cooper walks into a group of SEALs who have to go out on a hunt, and he simply says, "All right, guys, let's go kill these savages." Right? I mean, really, it was like, because they're fighting these guys.
Right.
And that's the mindset. The jihadist who wants to kill innocent human being has lost all sense of humanity and morality and has become like an animal, like a savage. And Pamela used that term for people blowing up innocent people in Israel and other places, and was excoriated for using that term.
Because it offends our Muslim sensibilities.
Yes. Yeah, good.
Pamela, before you said that Islam has nothing to do with Islam, and during one of the shows last week, Tom came up with this gem.
No, we were talking about those issues, and I said, I think the situation is that Mohammed himself actually hijacked Islam. That's what happened.
Were you aware that the Fox News reporter Jesse Waters was denied entrance into the event? And we were also, Damon and Alan were denied press credentials into the event, into the press area by the police.
Director of security for the school district. Mm-hmm. Let me advise you that if you come back in, we're going to criminally trespass you. Okay. Now you're warned.
Which means you'll be arrested and you'll spend the night in jail, okay?
And I don't know how much you followed that part of the story or not.
Well, I am very much a part of that story as well, because I had two people that I work with who had bought tickets weeks ago.
Right.
Weeks ago, and the night before the event, okay, which was Friday night, they received an email refunding their money, saying it's oversold. It's
Same
sold
as us.
out.
Yep.
So clearly they purged English-speaking names, which sounds totally supremacist to me. I did see Jesse Waters. Jesse Waters and I know him, and he was on my plane. And I did ask him to please not look for just freaks and geeks. Look, we're free speech. There's always going to be people that are going to say, whatever they want, and there are always going to be infiltrators that are sent by the enemy to make us look bad. The fact was that was a beautiful rally. If you were there, and you were, the people there were gorgeous, peaceful, singing God Bless America. I mean, and we're living in an era where good is evil and evil is good.
Yep.
It's just that simple.
We do have someone who was on the inside, an unnamed police officer who can't bring his name up.
Of course not.
From the Garland Police Department. Had informed us that the people running the event 2 days prior were going through all the names, looking for Jewish surnames and English surnames, and sending them refund tickets back. That's
how it happened. So I was right.
To add to that, we have researched the protocol and the requirements of, that's public space, that's the school board district's conference facility. They have an obligation to follow the civil law on on not discriminating against anybody. It's the whole thing's listed. So we're pursuing this. We'll be in touch with you. And if something is there for us to use our laws against them, then we will do that. But until then, what do you got coming up in the future that the folks should know about?
Well, I'm gonna do a conference in that building.
Oh,
yeah.
fantastic. Are we invited?
Let's do a conference. Let's see if they give me my permit. Okay?
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
By the way, and you're invited.
We will help you.
I will certainly be there.
We'll co-sponsor.
Invited. I'm going to give you front row seats.
Okay.
Very good. Very, very good. I can't wait to see your little infidel woman.
All right, Pamela Geller, thank you very much.
All right,
Ladies and
right.
gentlemen.
Right.
Thanks
for coming on. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, take it easy, Pamela. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Great job.
No, if she's going to put a conference together, that'll be great. And, the bad guys are going to want to come in. Let them the hell in. My view is let them in. Come on in, guys, and listen to the truth.